to the cloud. Well, good evening. This is the Library Building Committee meeting, regular session for October 30, 2025. And I'm going to start with our hybrid announcement, which is simply that this meeting is being held in person and with public access per the posting. We're going to have a roll call attendance of our members. Dorcas, could you begin?
Dorcas McGarren, present.
Vasiki Gianettos, West Yarmouth user representative.
Judy Connors Tarver, Chair.
Susan Greer, Planning Committee.
Tom Pendleton, Vice Chair.
John Greco, construction background.
Joseph LeBrecq, Library Staff.
West Yarmouth library user representative.
And also with us, we have David Aronson, the Director of the Library.
With us.
Our first item tonight is to go into executive session to vote that we enter executive session pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 38, Paragraph 28(1)(a), Purpose 7. The committee will vote on the minutes of the May 29, 2025 architectural interviews for the library building project, which were conducted in executive session to comply with the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 30B, Paragraph 6. So I need a vote. That motion was made, please.
So moved.
Thank you, Susan. And
Second.
second, was that Tom?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Tom. And we need to do a roll call vote on this. I'll start over here. John?
Accepted, Dave.
Aye.
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 Dorcas McGarren votes aye.
Okay, motion passed. We're going to excuse ourselves and go to executive session. Yeah.
motion to enter the private session.
Public session, yes.
I move that we enter in public session for this October 30th meeting.
Thank you, Susan.
Second.
Just a second.
Just a second. Now we're back in hybrid, so we do need to do another roll call vote. Dorcas?
Dorcas McGurran votes aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Okay. Now, let's move into public comment. And I have this one item here that I'm choosing to treat as if it were submitted to our library Dropbox comments, because we have those in the two libraries. And it was addressed to me at home. It's not signed, not dated. There's not much on it. There are a couple of other members of the committee also received this. So I'm just going to read it into the record. Please save our neighborhoods. In the Bass River Historic District, John G. Sears Landscape Company is for sale, selling both its business and its land at 221 Old Main Street in South Yarmouth. The land is a 1.7 acre parcel and is the only business B1 zone parcel in a residential neighborhood with its backyard abutting Pleasant Street neighbors. The Sears family is currently in talks with a large off-Cape corporation who has already purchased other landscape companies in Yarmouth and plans to bring more than a dozen dump trucks, trailers, and large pieces of machinery in and out of the yard daily. The 1.7 acres has only one entrance on Old Main Street and will create more noise pollution and traffic hazards. This 1.7 acre parcel currently has one small antique building, which consists only of an office with no kitchen or bathroom, no running water, and no septic system. The sheds and garages on the property are in terrible condition, are almost unusable as they stand. Instead of an off-Cape big business purchasing another local company and using its land for big business purposes, this land could be put to a better use. This would be a wonderful park for the neighborhood. There is a sidewalk in both directions and it abuts the St. David Church back parking lot. There is plenty of room for green space that could be used for play space for children or a larger farmer's market or wedding functions in a, I think it means quiet, but it says quite, location for local townspeople. The town of Yarmouth is looking for a new place for a new location for the library. This land is more than the South Yarmouth and West Yarmouth libraries combined. The library were to be put upon this land. The parking lot could be open to the abutting back parking lot of St. David's Church, which would make both the 221 Old Main Street parking lot and St. David's Church parking lot more accessible. Please consider what you could do to encourage the town of Yarmouth to consider purchasing this land and aid in saving our neighborhood for a better future for our local residents. So again, it's an anonymous comment, and in public comment, we do not need to respond.
Would it be appropriate to forward that to the land acquisition committee, just as a,
Oh, maybe
just forward to them and say that it'd be something you're interested in?
more pertinent to their purposes. Okay.
And tell them because we read it in the record, so.
Okay, great suggestion, thank you. Do we have any other public comment from external folks? Linda, did you want to participate at this point?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Very well.
Okay. I'm continuing to do the research on fundraising for the capital campaign. And I have submitted some queries to both law firms and I've gotten some names from Lawyers Clearinghouse. They're in the Boston area, then they do nonprofit legal work. And in addition to that, I've gotten two names from local consultants who have done fundraising on Cape Cod, and in addition to that, in a number of other places and different types of entities. And we've actually got I've gotten responses from those two consultants. One consultant is feeling that they might not be able to help us, but possibly they would talk to us a second time. The second consultant, we've actually made an appointment to have a Zoom meeting on the 17th of November. And so we'll see where that goes. The attorneys, I think there were either 4 or 5 firms that I contacted. I've heard from 2 that they would be interested in talking with us. I made it a very brief message to them initially. And I'm going to wait to see if I hear from any others to see what we want to pursue. I'd also want to bring it before the board of the South Yarmouth Library Association to see to hear their thoughts on the lawyers. I have brought the consultants before the board, and we have decided on that particular date to meet with the consultants. So we're moving forward, nothing specific. No decisions have been made, but at least we're making some progress. And that's about all for right now, unless you have any questions.
All right. Anyone around the table? Linda, thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
That's wonderful news and progress. I don't see any other public members up there. So we're going to move into a minute approval. So we have the minutes of September 25's meeting. And I just need a motion to accept those minutes.
I just have one correction.
Okay, so we still need the motion first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Motion to accept.
Okay, and second.
Aye.
Okay. Now, conversation on this. Yes, corrections.
I was not remote. I was,
Oh, you were there.
I might have been mentally not here, but
Let's see, okay. So that goes out. And then, yeah, there was a misspell on my name. And there was a little apostrophe thing on page 2. And then, okay, we had some conversation, let's see, on page 3, under recent capital investment. The investment would be lost if building is converted to a library. But remember what happened here was that then we got the correct information. So here it says that town contribution of approximately 2.3. So if we can add in there, and so the minutes are accurate for what was discussed that day. However, we don't want to leave an incorrect message to the public,
But technically,
it's
if that's what was said,
minutes.
that was it. What we do is we read into the minutes tonight. You put the correction in tonight. If that's what was said that night,
Oh, I see.
that's what was said.
Okay,
And
so,
then the correct information, we read into the minutes tonight and we reference that. We go back and reference that date and say additional information was presented regarding the September 25th minutes.
for tonight's minutes.
Yes,
Okay,
that was in
great.
tonight's minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so that doesn't have to be amended because that is correct.
Yep.
As of
As
that night.
of that night,
At that
yeah.
night.
And I didn't want to mess with it, but I also wanted to make
No,
sure.
no.
Because it's what we said then.
Right.
Exactly,
This is
and
what
it
was
was
said then.
the knowledge that we had at that point.
Right, and
Okay.
then the updated is
Okay.
tonight, in tonight's minutes.
Okay. Money, okay. All right, so with those minor corrections, Tom moved this, Vicky seconded. Again, we need to do a roll call. Dorcas,
Dorcas McGurran votes aye.
okay, Vicky.
Vicky Giannetto's votes aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you all. And then we'll move into the minutes for October 7th.
I move the minutes by October 17th, accepted as presented.
Thank you, Susan. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, John. All right, and,
One correction I have,
okay.
I was not remote again.
This is his first
Are you
one.
sure? Are you sure?
I don't know,
When I
in my
was
dotage, maybe I don't know where I am.
You know, yeah, it reminds me when I was here and because I wasn't here a couple of
Right,
times, you know,
right.
it happens. It happens.
All right,
I think she
Okay.
just inadvertently just left. me.
I think she just, yeah,
Left it
yeah.
the same, you know?
Okay, so on page 2, I have a bracket around, and in the first paragraph, to capture data needed to make an informed decision, the board asked Mr. Owens to develop a scope of work and a budget to do conditions and structural assessment of the MacArthur School. Now, that means not this group, that means the select board. Because this is the minutes for when we did the presentation to the select board.
So do you want to amend this to say, ask Mr. Owens to develop a
Is that
scope
what
of work and budget
happened?
to be presented to the select board?
No,
Did
the
the
select
board
board
ask you
asked.
that
The
night?
select board asked?
I think that happened after we left.
Well, Bob reached out to me after that to get a proposal, which we didn't have because we hadn't asked for it yet from our consultants. But I don't remember, I don't know what the right wording should be for that because we did talk about that with the select board. And I think the understanding coming out of that was that it would be pursued. I don't know if they specifically said, provide us with a fee proposal. But my understanding coming out of that meeting was that they were expecting us to follow this kind of two-pronged approach.
Definitely. I just, I thought the request was after our part closed.
There was
What do you remember?
there was
It was
conversation,
definitely-
there was
yeah,
conversation, and I think both from the select board and us
Mhm.
about, coming up with a budget and a comprehensive plan,
Yeah,
So they could see the price that happened.
so they can make a fair
Because I
comparison.
remember Matt saying, just doing, I think, one piece of the study was not going to be enough. You really needed a structure. That was the conversation.
That was the conversation.
That was a significant piece because we were just looking at what would be.
The structural.
Right, you said you're going to do the whole thing together for.
Right.
okay. The board agreed to work on double check, move forward with grant requirements, submittal, and do an assessment on the retrofit of the MacArthur School. Okay. I just wasn't sure it had that. Okay, so, John,
So my only comment is, since it's part of the select board, what's the select board has meeting minutes? Is there any coordination to make sure there's nothing that conflicts?
well, we had to post because we had a
Yeah.
quorum, and our minutes are only from our part.
But does the select board have any notes on our part?
Yeah,
Well, they would have their portion of the minutes for your presentation.
yeah.
I don't think that it would be.
I don't think it's.
Nothing
that-
conflicts.
no, It's
I
not
don't
like
think it
it's
would
a
be that, no. I
Not
really don't.
anything substantial.
No, I don't think so.
good question, but, it's like no contract involved or money compensation. or anything.
Well, there was one, that's why I'm asking the question.
Well, but not
There's no
specific
formal
dollar
decision.
amounts. Yeah, yeah. Money was discussed. Okay, so, all right, so we have the motion on the table. We've had our conversation. Anybody else have anything to say about this? Okay, roll call vote. John?
Aye.
Tom?
Aye.
Susan? Vicky?
Right?
Dorcas McGurk votes aye.
Thank you. I'll abstain, and motion carries. Thank you for passing the minutes. We got our housekeeping taken care of. Okay. Communications is on here again. We talked about this last time a little bit. And just wanted to talk about how,
Excuse me, Just one thing.
Sure thing.
Is this where you want to enter that additional information? This is where you should.
Oh,
enter
thank
additional
you,
information.
thank you. Oh, my goodness, Susan, you're doing a good job here. All right, so how do we do that? You're just gonna make this,
Say, you know, the chair reports that additional information will be presented to update in September, update the minutes of September.
okay. So subsequently, it was learned that the 2.3 million was not provided by the town, but rather was provided by Cape Cod Collaborative through funding sources that they were able to identify.
That's the updated information.
Thank you, thank you. Good. All right. Communications. We're continuing to try and make this effective with all the players that we have and all the work that we need to do. And just want to express real appreciation for everyone who has stepped up and kind of stretched themselves to meet the needs of this committee. And again, you've heard me say this before, but we were working with the absence of a lot of support. And so, you know, we were asking for this person at town hall to do this, and this person at town hall to do this, and this person at town hall, and this person at the library to please step up, and this other person at the library to please step up. So now what we need to do is kind of take a big deep breath. David's here, and I was actually at town hall today because we thought David needed to be appointed, and he actually doesn't, because when Pam Barnes went back to look at the original committee, his role was just to come here and sit at the table and advise us without being appointed, which is different from Mindy and Joe, who, even though they're employees, they were listed as particular members, but non-voting members, which you know, and in an advisory role. So we want to kind of get back into those kind of roles as we're building out the roles. David's role at town hall with the ATA, that will take up a lot of things. And just get everybody back where they belong in terms of their responsibilities. So some of those responsibilities are to the committee, some are to their jobs, mostly Joe and Mindy. So, you know, what they do for the committee is beyond their work responsibilities. So we need to be very careful when we ask them to be in an advisory role, And that's where we can just maybe pull together more and use the resources we have at town hall that are starting to shape up to get our work done. So, but thank you everyone who has stretched, and you know, all the people at town hall who probably aren't watching this, but they've been so helpful in keeping this. So we're going to keep the communication really narrow to David, me, and Tom, and then we'll distribute it, because there is a ton of communication that goes on in terms of billing and all kinds of stuff, which will just bog down the committee's progress if we're looking at all that stuff. It's a lot. Any comments or questions?
That's the question.
Please.
What is, you have to refresh my mind, what is going to happen on November 17th? Is the library going to make, at the town meeting?
Oh, a town meeting.
Yeah, the town meeting. What is our expectation for town meeting?
I haven't seen.
Do we have to do anything formal?
Oh, no.
We don't, okay.
No. That's a great question.
Is there an article?
I don't know.
There's no
nothing.
article. The only article is on the McCormick and on the
On the
McCarthy.
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 Okay,
That's it.
And that was a newly added one, right?
Right, no, because this has already been covered by a previous town meeting.
Mhm.
okay.
But that article, the way it's stated, stating that the MacArthur School could be used as a potential library, there might generate some questions from the public about that idea, and I don't know how that's gonna be handled.
I think probably the board
Select board will handle that.
probably would be the
Okay.
answer, because we've asked for a study
Correct.
to be done.
And that's kind of the answer, isn't it?
Yeah, well, also, I think Matt really made it pretty clear for us that it can't be used for a library. So I think going forward, that's what we're looking at is potential for MacArthur School to be actually used for a replacement for Emmy Small.
Ah,
That's what we're looking for.
Okay.
okay.
Because it was very clear that, you know, it is gonna work for the library.
So is the article more open-ended? The wording is for potential use or reuse of the MacArthur building as opposed to,
I think it's just left open as to the MacArthur building. I don't think it's saying
Yeah.
specifically for what.
I just didn't see the wording of it.
I don't know that we've actually had it.
But it did also say in other future uses, because the collaborative is done in
2029.
it says 31.
There's so many, there are many dates floating around on that one. It's gonna be one of those. No, that's a great question.
I have another one, it's not so great. I'm not even sure we should be doing this, but is it time or is the right time for us to be asking or at least laying out in preparation for when we're going to defend this financial request, where we fall on the list of capital projects and when payment is going to be required, what years, so that if someone stands up and says, when is the library going to start? How much is it going to cost us every year? And what else are we going to have to be paying for that year? Because water is looming and the water is going up. The water thing is going up. So I think it'd be great information to have, because at some point someone's going to say, when are we going to have to start paying for this and what else are we going to have to pay
Oh,
for
they
every
definitely,
year?
yeah,
Who do we get that information from?
well, David presented at the capital budget meeting.
Oh, okay. So you've got some framework there and they know we're in the pipeline someplace.
Oh, yeah, it is. Well, and Sandy's capital, so she's our wing, like you're going to.
Okay.
And
We also have the project timeline from.
Right, that we have. I'm just wondering where that fits into all the other capital project times, because that's what we're going to be competing against.
Correct.
the short answer is it's not entered yet on the 10-year plan.
The library isn't,
No.
but other things are, right, David? I would assume the 10-year capital plan is the 10-year capital plan. We're just going to be plugged in at some point.
Yeah, I thought, last time I looked at it was blank. Is it now there now?
I haven't looked, but,
I
Yes.
think Sandy will confirm that it's in the 10-year.
Oh, it is, since that, so that's since our meeting. That's,
Yeah, that-
oh, okay.
All right, so we'll have an idea.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so we'd have an idea of what else is going to be on the voting dock that night. That, you know, if we're going to be arguing for funds, someone's going to stand up and say, well, you know, we got $40 million worth of stuff to do for water. How do we should know what the battle is going to be. And I think I don't know where we should get that information now, or just wait till we get a more defined construction schedule, because we're still very much in the planning stages. But at some point, I think, because the citizens are going to ask.
But we don't even know if we've been approved by the state.
Exactly.
So I mean, I think all you can say is that we're really still in a state of limbo.
Right, well, at this town meeting, but I'm
I
thinking
think
about
more
the future.
about
town
May.
meetings.
Oh, yeah,
Future
well,
town meetings, I
definitely.
think then we'll have an answer for them, but I mean, for this town meeting, I think we need to just.
And we hope, yeah, and the answer
It
is,
is.
if it comes up, we're not even sure we're gonna get any money yet. We're not
Right,
even sure we're
right.
gonna-
We're
Okay,
still in the.
Right.
as long as we have,
Yeah,
Right, and so then the
because we really
spring,
don't know what the state's
spring
gonna
will be a
do.
lot more definitive. Okay.
and then Dorcas had told us that, you as the select board won't be working on that till
At least January.
January,
Yeah.
right, okay, that's what.
That's when we start looking at the budget process.
Jay, did you have any other clarification for us?
Well, I think what was just said is correct. You know, it won't go to the select board till after FinCom, and that's the plan. And there's still some additional internal review going on that Sandy's coordinating. And I did pull up the warrant article. It's Article 5. It's $130,000. And not, let me see if I can't just, the key phrase in there is to determine the feasibility and approximate cost of possible future uses of the building, including for a possible library or other public use, or take any other action relative thereto. So that's the final sentence, obviously, in that warrant article, if you find that helpful. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so Matt, did you want to weigh in on that? You look like you might have had something.
No, I was actually trying to figure out if Marika was on the call and needed to
Okay.
be let in or promoted. Was she on there?
She
Okay.
was
She was
earlier.
there.
There she is.
Oh, she is there. Okay. But she's maybe not promoted.
No, she was, everybody
Oh,
was.
was she?
Maybe she pulled off. Okay, all right, thank you. Any other discussion on this?
She raised her hand.
She raised her hand.
But I think she's not visible. Also, I'll need to be promoted to a panelist so I can
Where did
share.
she go?
Oh, everybody was
Oh, did she go back to attendee?
If she had to sign off and sign back on,
Yeah.
that may have been what
Oh,
happened.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that's.
Sorry about that, guys. I had to log off my computer and get in the car. So I'm listening remotely from the car. Sorry about that.
Okay, thanks, Marika. All right. So why don't we just move into 7 in the site updates with Matt?
Great, so I'm gonna share my screen. We have Gigi Saltonstall with us tonight from G2, our landscape architect consultants.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, welcome.
Thanks. Just as Matt's teeing things up, you all met Jonathan last time, who's in our office, who nicely stepped up into this meeting, and that I was not able to be at. Anyway, I have been here all along. You just haven't met me yet. So here I am finally seeing my face.
All right, so I'm teeing you up here. Hold on one second, Gigi.
Great. So we just, I know the last time when Jonathan met with you all, we put a number of different options up on screen about a number of different ways to chase the parking, especially I think the other components of the site, the woodland and the edges. You know, was consistent treatment across the schemes, but really parking is kind of the big item to be on everybody's minds right now. And what we did was took what we heard from you, working with Matt and everybody in his office, tried to take the best elements of all those different plans and make it into one. So this is where we have landed for the moment. This meets the parking, what we believe to be the parking count needs. So this incorporates 48 spaces that are in the existing lot out there. It takes 60 for the library, and really it's a kind of 2-part plan. So this first part that Matt's got on screen right now is showing the condition of leaving the 18 parking spaces that are to the west of the MacArthur building. And, you know, the big yellow arrow is showing how you would circulate through the site, your arrival to the library, a drop-off sequence there, also a drop-off sequence for the school. So we're trying to make the parking lot work for both buildings. And then you would exit back out the same way you came in. What we are trying to preserve at this point is an option to take this one step further, which is the next plan, which is to move the road away from the west side of the building. And I know this was in one of the options last time, but it would remove the 18 parking spaces that are west of MacArthur and have the roads circulate between MacArthur and the library, so that as you come into sight, the library really has a more prominent position and is really a kind of feature, and but keeps the parking and the drop off the same. So it's there are a number of ways we could think about it. It could be it's a phase one and a future phase. It could also be considered, you know, different buckets in terms of how it gets paid for and constructed. But really, we were excited about the thought that you could preserve this opportunity to, I think, really make this move of the driveway that would really be beneficial to the library and frankly to the green space that's to the west in addition. So that is the big overview. I think the other pieces, the planted buffers, the drop-off plaza, remain very similar to what you saw last time. I will explain the bend in the parking. The reason why we've bent the lot in the middle is that it gets us the ability to have parking relationships to both the school and the library. If you recall, some of the schemes the last time ended up with the parking feeling like it was too far from the school for the most part, but also some of them from the library. And so this bend in the parking swings a number of spaces up closer to that entry plaza, but still also preserves that relationship with the MacArthur School building. So that's what, you know, what I was describing is we're trying to meld all of the good things from the previous schemes.
I'm not clear on what the bend is.
Yeah, the bend.
The shape of the parking lot, it's sort of two geometries coming together. So this,
What are the additional parking places?
They're lost. So Gigi, my question would be the 18 parking spots that were in front of MacArthur, they're no longer there in this
Right.
rendition, correct? And
Yes.
they're not absorbed in the new parking lot? I mean, we just
So-
lose them.
No, they are. The new parking lot has, the new parking lot encompasses all of that. So in terms of the 60 for the library, the 48 that are existing, plus 18 for the potential loss west of the building.
Okay, thank you.
so Gigi, the previous version of this, where the parking remains on the west side, has 18 more spaces than this lot.
Then needed, yeah.
Yeah, and okay.
So is it 48 plus 60?
So 48 spaces exist today. And sorry, the 48, Gigi, is just in the lot east of the building. So
Yeah,
it's 48 existing to the east and 18.
18 to the west, yeah.
So, I mean, one question that's come up is what is the right parking count for the school? And what was the intention of the parking spaces to the west of the MacArthur building? Are they for the MacArthur school or were they for the field? You know, how do we determine what our correct parking count is? We're already going to be a little bit up against it with the library, trying to argue for a certain parking count. We talked about this last time, that zoning, if you go by zoning, you end up with, you know, 100 plus spaces for the library, which is crazy. And because libraries aren't a listed use, it goes by assembly, and that makes a kind of broad assumption that there's one space for every 3 occupants. So if we do an occupancy count, it gives us a quite high parking count. If we use the MBLC formula, which is 1 space for every 400 gross square feet, that suggests a parking count of 60 for a library of this size, which seems reasonable to us. So the starting point for us was a minimum of 60 plus accommodating the existing 48 and 18. And I mean, you can see what that yields here. And if that has to grow, if we have to incorporate another 40 spaces, say, it's gonna get very difficult, and it's gonna just feel like that entire area is parking. So we've been trying to maintain some green space between the school and the library in any of the options that we've looked at. And I think that's important for the library. I think it would also be a benefit to the MacArthur building. There are the two lots that are south of this. They're off the screen in this kind of bottom corner. You know, could that be expansion for more paved parking? Could it be overflow parking that's just on grass for special events? I think that's something that we could look at. Gigi, I don't know if you guys consider that at all. It's a little bit awkward because it's kind of this isolated pocket down there.
Yeah, we looked at it a little bit. It gets tricky because of how to, I mean, I think you're right, Matt, especially for special events, it would be a good place to park if it's because it is, you know, potentially parking on lawn. When you get into officially making it parking and paving it, you end up using a lot of space for circulation as opposed to just the parking. And it also just starts getting really far away from everything, which makes it less appealing. But as you said, Matt, I think we're really reluctant to push parking into that green space that's between the MacArthur and the library. It just feels like this would feel like a very vast paved space. And so, yeah, we'd like to keep parking out of that zone.
Yeah, so at some point, relatively soon, I think we should set up a conversation with whoever in town we need to. I don't know if that's Kathy or if it's somebody else in planning and zoning or the building department or whoever you guys think is the right person to talk to, and just have a conversation about it and explain the situation and try to get a better sense of what the town would be willing to accommodate. We don't want to obviously build more parking than we feel is reasonable.
Did you get an answer to who controls that 18 spaces?
We don't know, and I don't know who to ask that question either. I mean, are those for the field? Are they for the school? And I think it would be useful to do a kind of parking count analysis for the school. You know, based on zoning, what would a school require? You know, how many spaces per occupant? How many occupants are there in that building? What's it designed for? How many are actually there? So getting a better handle on what they need, because maybe the 48 spaces that exist on the right-hand side of that building is more than what they need.
Yeah.
If it was an elementary school versus a high school.
I don't know.
Mike, those 18 to the west of MacArthur, I mean, if they're field parking spots, that field's never used. I mean, it would seem to me that they're currently probably being used by the school, but the field is rarely used except for an event. If you see 2 people walking on that field during the week, it's a lot.
Although the recreation people have just done they're just doing a study of all the open space.
Right.
So that may lead to some decisions about use of that in the future.
The only other thing I would think about this rendition here is that shifting the road from west to east is an additional cost.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, that's why we looked at the kind of phase 1, call it, option that doesn't shift the road.
okay.
Because we wanted to see if we could at least preserve the opportunity for that at some point, even if it wasn't happening in conjunction with this project, but the ability to do it at some point. And so trying to really minimize make it so that there's not something that it would have to be redone. And I think some of the cost implications, the questions with that come around with the infrastructure projects that are happening in Route 28, the new connections that need to be made to the building for that, with the septic system going away. You know, how much of this is torn up anyway? There might be some efficiencies in doing it with this project, but that's, it's too soon to call that, really.
The only other monkey wrench I'll throw into here is that road to the south really is an exit only. You cannot enter from that side. Yeah, you cannot enter from Main Street.
You're talking about this,
And Dodge.
yes. I think that's we recognize that.
Okay.
Yeah, the road would be the road would be two-way when it moved to the east, the way it is now. It's a two-way circulation.
In and out of 28.
Yeah.
In and out of 28 only, you can't, right, okay.
Matt, who controls you talked about parking to the south of the lot, the potential for overflow. Is that all grass or is that actually paved?
It's grass.
It's grass, and
It's clear from what I remember,
I would
It's very
assume
clear,
part of
but
the
it's
grass.
flat, it's town owned. They're two, it's like two residential parcels that are behind two other residential
But
parcels.
is it part of that parcel? Is it part of the parcel?
They're two separate parcels.
Mhm.
Oh, is it part of the,
Is it part of
I don't
16?
know.
No.
They are town owned, but I don't know if they're part of what's considered the library site.
I don't think.
They're not part of parcel
They're
60.
not part of separate.
But I don't know that we restricted it, did we, when we did the site selection?
If it says parcel 60 and those aren't part of parcel 60, forget the conversation. Because I just don't think we're gonna be able to convince the town.
For, yes, if it is for library specific parking, but if it's for overflow parking for events, field, I think that's fair game. I would think.
As part of the development of the program, it would not be part of.
It wouldn't, if what you're saying is true, then it wouldn't be
We have to convince.
part
them.
of, it wouldn't be, we wouldn't be able to use it to satisfy library parking.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
We're just gonna have to make sure that nobody uses the Simpkins parking lot to go to the library, because that will cause all kinds of nightmares.
So this was our presentation on June 17, and this looks to me like it is including the area.
So we're talking about this right
Yeah.
here. Maybe it is. It seems like a total line.
We built, it was June 17.
I thought it was over in here, out in this area over here.
No, we'll find it. Can we just make one observation? One good thing about moving the parking, the road to the back of the building. I mean, that's it. Just taking a road like that through a parking lot with people getting in, kids getting in and out of their cars going to school. Okay, the back of the building is much safer. I would think.
Yeah, and the back of the building, by the way, is where the accessible entry is for the school.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so there are accessible spaces, you can see, where's my cursor? You can see here, there are probably two accessible spaces
Right.
that are across from this entrance, but this entrance is not accessible. You walk in and it stairs up and down, there's no lift. So, so it prompted a question in my mind, is that parking for the school or are those ADA spaces for the field? So there are just still questions about this that we don't know the answers to.
That's research.
In terms of the road, I mean, what we've talked about with Gigi's team is a couple of things. One, you know, as she said in the slide, it creates a better adjacency between the school building and the field. So,
It does.
you know, for whatever future use of that building, that's a fantastic connection without cars, you know, in between it. So I think that facilitates the, you know, the sort of expansion of outdoor programming for that building. The other thing it does is it brings your experience of the library much sooner in the overall experience. You come into the site, and at this point, you come into the precinct where you see the library, and then you know, you still have a good buffer of landscape, and then you move down into the drop off. And so there's something nice about that, instead of coming fully around this other building and then into parking, which isn't terrible. It's just, it's a sort of quicker recognition of you are entering this
It also
library
provides,
precinct.
as you say, the long-term planning, much better opportunity for the MacArthur School.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Vicky, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Also, some people could mistake the MacArthur building for the library building if the road is in front of it. And they have to go through the parking of it, and they may make a mistake. Yeah, because it's gonna be the new building, some people might not know about the MacArthur building and be like, oh, this is wrong. And not go all the way down the road. So.
Okay, John?
So I'll go back to, if I got Matt's question right. Who does he talk to get more definitive
About the
stuff?
parking in front of.
Well, I think any of all this, which includes parking, circulation.
Let's
parking
ask
we need,
Jay,
right.
let's ask Jay to weigh in on that. So who at town hall do we need to connect with?
I think you should coordinate through Kathy Williams.
Okay.
And she will probably convene a meeting with the building inspector and other people that typically do site plan review for the town on various projects. And I do like the shifting of the road, by the way. I think it also calms the traffic down that would be coming in and out of the site, in addition to improving the flow and adjacency between the two uses. By having that curve in the road, it's a more gentle approach than what exists in the field today. But Kathy Williams is the go-to person, in my opinion.
Okay.
If anyone can find it, she can.
So should we leave it to you guys to organize a meeting then, or is it better for us to reach out to her directly?
I can start that communication tomorrow.
Okay.
I mean, on Monday. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
Yes.
Matt, has any estimates at all been done on moving the road? No estimates.
No cost estimates yet, and actually, we had initially assumed cost estimates would be done before the December deadline. The MBLC has been very specific that they want them done after the review. So we won't have our estimator look at this until January. Or probably late January.
Okay.
Judy, when everything's being done, is it worth it to see about if 28 meets the warrants for a light, well, there a traffic light for 28 and or pedestrian? Since again, there would be more people coming in to the site than previous. And it may be worth, because that would get you the pedestrian crossing, that would get you everything, but warrants would have to be done. The traffic warrant to see.
The traffic
Traffic
warrants.
warrant.
Okay.
Is that a state road?
That's a
It's
state road.
a state road,
In Mass
yeah.
DOT.
So I did alert Amanda Lehman to this, months ago. So who would talk to me about traffic warrants?
The traffic engineer, well, that would be probably Matt's traffic engineer, civil engineer, seeing if there's enough to meet all the traffic warrants, to then see if a light is required, then you would have to go to MassDOT to see, they would have to review it.
When you say enough, you mean a traffic study to see sort of counts?
Yeah, there's like
Kind of data
9,
counts.
8 or 9 things that have to be considered
The
to see.
criteria they have to meet before they'll consider a light. I think the issue's gonna be is Wood Road coming on the other side. Because coming down Wood Road and turning left onto 28, I think there has to be so many feet between that coming onto 28 and where we'd have the light. Unless we put the light in on Wood Road. I think there has to be so many feet. It's like,
Yeah.
curb
that goes
cuts,
back,
it has to
yeah,
be
that-
40
yeah.
feet. And so I think turning left, I don't know how far it would be from
Yes.
Wood Road down to the entrance to the library.
Probably,
How long do you think that would be?
maybe 100 yards, maybe.
It's like a football field maybe,
Maybe,
Maybe.
without the end zones.
yeah,
Yeah.
without the ambulance things, yeah. 100 yards.
Yeah, but all
about
this is gonna
120.
get revised anyway. I mean,
What's that?
it's all gonna get cut up anyway with the sewers and do the interconnection.
Right,
So
right.
I don't really know where this driveway is gonna end. It could end up in any, we have a rough idea, but they could easily end up getting moved.
But it would be, if we have to do it, that would be the time to do it when they're digging up the road anyway.
Give the town a chance to do something with that Wood Road intersection, which is.
Yeah, which is dangerous.
All right, do we have any resolution on that topic?
No.
Just find out.
But then, yeah,
Who controls, yeah.
Yeah.
And an adequate count, or an accurate count for the school. That 48 seems awfully high.
It does to me too.
It does seem high. I mean, it's a 28,000 square foot building. It's bigger than the library. But I don't know. I don't know what the count would be.
No, and I think there's some assembly spaces in there.
There's
gross
one,
motor
yeah.
area or something, it's gross motor area.
Yeah, on the lower level,
Yeah.
down at the southern end.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, any other?
Wait a second, I need to, sorry, Matt. Okay, so where are we leaving this traffic business?
More information.
I think that can go through Kathy as well, who will be coordinating with the engineer and
Okay.
we can put that on the list as well.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Don't like loose ends.
Any other questions for Gigi about parking and vehicular access? One thing we should mention is drop off. I know there were some comments in the last meeting about how far is the drop off from the entry. We've actually moved the drop off closer. And I think an advantage here is that we have this long covered entry porch along the community wing. And so at drop off, like immediately off of the drop off area, you can get under cover very quickly. And then you've got, I think it's, did we say it was 90 feet?
Yeah, it's
Gigi?
85 or 90 feet. Yep.
And for the people that visited Norwell, the drop off at Norwell to the front door of Norwell is about 90 feet.
Yeah, it was
Gigi?
92 feet or something like that. Yeah, so about the same.
So frame of reference, I mean, it feels, you know, it's not an uncomfortable distance to walk. So that's, I just wanted to mention.
Great. Yep. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments about parking?
No.
So I wanted to, you had the Norwell Library visit on your agenda. There are only two people here that went, David and Joe. Phoebe was also there. For those of you that have not been there, I'm assuming everyone else has not. I just have a few slides to kind of orient you quickly. I'm not going to spend time on these, just so you see it and you have some context. So this was a 21,000 square foot building, single story, surrounded by wetlands, surrounded by woods. There are no other buildings, so unusual context. We organized it around a central rain garden. So all the roofs slope down to that central garden. The water, we built up the grade to building capacity for stormwater because the water table is so high.
Yeah.
So that courtyard sort of filters the water and moves back out into the wetlands clean behind the building. It's organized in this kind of U shape. The top wing is the adult wing. The area that's toned blue is the community wing here. This is the entry porch. The drop off is here. You can see it in this rendered view. There's a drop off here, and then you walk through this covered entry porch to the front doors. Everything that's toned in blue here is available off hours. So community room, all of the supporting program, bathrooms, storage. Children's wing is in the bottom left corner, and then staff and circulation desk are in this middle area. This is new books. And around the perimeter, you've got great views out to the woods. So approach from parking. Again, one-story building that's exposed mass timber construction. Exterior materials are green slate from Vermont and yellow cedar. Bottom left is that entry courtyard, and bottom right too.
Did they have any solar panels?
They did not put solar on the building. They could, but they never did. Interior of the adult wing, so similar in scale probably to the adult wing that we're looking at for you guys. It's a similarly scaled building. Again, really trying to blur the lines between indoors and outdoors. So strong connections between inside and outside. We have a couple of covered porches. Those two bottom left images are the porch that's at the end of the adult wing. There's also a screen porch that's off the periodicals room. Children's room is similar scale to adults, smaller room, but same character, same, great connection to the outdoors. This is a view from the back, kind of from the woods, looking at the building. That's the adult. Sorry?
Do any of the windows?
Yes.
open?
Yeah, and we think that was a point of discussion with the staff. It's an operational question, right? At the end of the day, it's kind of a hassle to have to go around and close windows that get opened. many conversations about this with different library staffs, different communities, towns, about how do you manage that. Some people take the handles off the windows, so they get opened on a nice day, they take the crank handle off, and then they put them back on. It's still an operational issue. So it's a question for the town and for the library staff. We advocate for it because we think that it's important for people to help to sort of be able to control their immediate environment. It's nice to get a little fresh air in a building. We do not use it as a way to passively ventilate buildings. I mean, if that's something that you guys are interested in, we can pursue that, but that's not why we do it. We do it because it just makes for a better sort of personal experience. So there are fewer operable windows in this library than there are in some of our other buildings. For that reason, we minimized the number of them so that the staff wasn't going, to 50 windows around the library and closing them at the end of the day. So I'll leave it at that. David and Joe, I don't know if you guys have any takeaways from that
And I
visit.
think Mindy visited at another point on her own.
I'm sorry, how big is this building?
21,000.
Okay, so that's, but close.
So Joe, as
Right,
an
that's what
employee, what was your?
That's what I was going to bring up, as a 21,000 square foot building gave me an idea of what we as a staff would be facing.
Okay.
And, some of the work that we've done with the programming has been about improving sight lines for staff so they can be more easily managed.
What are your thoughts on windows?
I'm sorry?
What are your thoughts on windows?
I'm a fan of some manually openable.
Yeah, fresh air.
Yeah,
Fresh air.
for that reason, yeah. But it's a beautiful library. It's really comfortable. Yeah. I don't know, what else?
Are we contemplating solar panels on this building?
Well, so we are obligated by the new energy code to provide a solar ready building. We're not obligated to put panels on, but we have to consider it, and we have to demonstrate that you could put solar panels in the building. We've got good orientation. The children's wing roof faces south. I think you could even get decent, it's low pitched roof, so I think you could get good yield even on an east or west facing roof. We're doing an east-west installation out in Western Mass, and actually the consultant we're working with said that they even prefer that to south facing because you get a more balanced yield over the course of the day. You're not like blasting it with a lot of sun all at once.
Where in Western Mass?
Shutesbury. It's a much smaller building. It's a
Yeah.
4,500 square foot building. But we have enough solar for it to be net zero. Eastham is net zero. And there we had solar on every roof surface, irrespective of orientation. So we have south facing, west facing, we even have north facing, but it's all pretty low pitch. And so there's yield on all those surfaces, and they're able to generate enough to cover that building. Solar, I think, requires a much longer conversation because it's an eligible cost. The MBLC will reimburse you for whatever the percentage is that they're reimbursing you for. It's not an inexpensive proposition, especially for a building of this size. I want to say that in Shutesbury, which is, as I said, 4,500 square feet, the solar array was 250,000. I think that was the original budget. I don't know where it came in. They decided to include it in the bid. It's a part of the contractor's package, and get it reimbursed by the state.
Is it totally reimbursed or partially?
Partially reimbursed, but their reimbursement was a much higher percentage. They're a small library, so they get like a 75% reimbursement. There are a lot of different ways to do solar. The benefits, the tax benefits on solar have changed. Now I think municipalities are able to take advantage of tax benefits. It didn't used to be the case. And so what we would find is that there were donors that would come forward and purchase the solar, donate it, get the tax credits. So it's kind of a win-win. That calculus, I think, has changed a little bit, and there are a lot of different ways to do it. So we should, if you're interested in solar, we should probably set up a time to talk specifically about that with Jay and Bob, probably to understand in the context of the town how that works. we've worked in communities where there's like a huge array over the town dump or something, and then, you know, so I think understanding this building in the context of the town-wide approach to alternative energy and solar would be good.
There's a huge solar array over in Mashpee at Christ the King Church, and they did the entire parking lot with panels.
Yeah,
So not only does it provide protection for the cars, it's generating electricity.
yeah, and I mean, we see that too. That's a more expensive proposition because you have to then
Constructing it.
provide the structure to support it. Here, you've got the roof, and you know, it's just getting panels on the roof. You have to make sure that the structure takes that into consideration, but we're gonna have to do that anyway. To meet
Does it have to be a complete solar roof, solar, or could you do partial? roof?
No, it can be partial.
You could do partial,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So to meet the requirements of the code, we'll have to provide a raceway for cabling
Mhm.
for a future system. We have to take it into account in terms of structural design and, you know, demonstrate that you can install solar on this building, but it doesn't have to happen as part of the construction. So
Solar array.
solar array, yeah. All right, so moving right along.
I just want to get back to Joe for a second, because I was interested in the way you phrased that, of what we would be faced with that size.
As a staff of
Yes.
our size currently,
Okay,
you know, building of a size like Norwell or larger, which is in the case of our building we're looking at, you know, there's some areas that are out of reach of our site. You know, if we were working in a central location,
Yes.
which is,
yes,
you know, unavoidable.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, we've been having a lot of these conversations lately with the MPLC. And even if you have a clear line of sight, you know, if you could see from one end of the building to the other end of the building, but it's 200 feet away, that's, I don't think, realistic to think that you can really have visual control of something that's that far away. Even if you can see it, can you get there in time to, you know, do anything about it? So I think for a building of a certain size, this Norwell, you know, anything kind of in the 20,000+ square feet, I think you have to be thinking about kind of minimum 3 strategic locations, and then figure out, it's sort of an operational question, I think. You know, how do you make sure that, let's say there's somebody at the children's desk, but then there's a program, and so that person is in the children's meeting room, there's nobody at the desk, so who's covering teens and who's covering the rest of the children's? And, you know, can you pull somebody from, you know, book processing for a couple hours to support the desk? That's where it's sort of outside of our hands, and I don't know, I mean, you guys have a full-time staff of.
Those are exactly issues that.
Joe and I have been
Yeah.
spending quite a bit of time, and we're gonna be spending quite a bit more, just because as we start to lay out and then, you know, overlay that with our open hour requirements and what those look like in terms of, you know, staffing, because obviously any day that we're open, you know, the days we're open 9 to 7, you in essence have a split shift, because it's, you know, so you start to look at some of that staffing service points. You really kind of need 2-person staffing at all times in many ways for the reasons that you cite, among others. So, you know, all of these things that we think about, even, you know, we were talking about simple things like processing delivery in the morning, you know, when we get the deliveries, where that goes in, you know, then are you pulling someone off of the public service desk to do the delivery? How does that happen? You know, all of these things that, so, you know, they're all just operational considerations, as I said. So.
I guess knowing that you can't see everybody at all times in every corner at all times, do you focus more on making sure you can see key areas? Or do you just?
You would have to have a strong sense of who's coming in.
Almost like a lifeguard knows
To
who's
know who's in the
pool.
building at the right time, and making use of some sort of security.
Okay.
You know, access.
Yeah, and I mean, so a couple of comments about the plan, and Marika and Libby, you guys should chime in with any specific questions or comments you want to make. But generally speaking, our effort over the last couple of weeks has been to tighten the building up. At any time we start a new project and we start moving from the kind of bubble diagram to an architectural plan, things tend to be a little big, and it takes time to sort of work through it and tighten things up. So this building was was 3,500 square feet bigger 2 weeks ago. And we've been working over the last 2 weeks to tighten things up and get that. So now we're about within 300 square feet of the target total area. So we feel like, we've managed to keep the general arrangement, work on the relationships that Marika and Libby are going to be here tomorrow to meet with David and his staff to go over sort of specific area by specific area, to talk more specifically about that. So that will be super helpful. And then that'll get baked into the planning as well for our next iteration. Just kind of broadly speaking, so it's tightened up. We've been looking at sight lines. We've also started setting up some interior views, which are super preliminary. I'll share them with you tonight, but just to give you a sense of scale, you can kind of see how long things are, how tall spaces are, that sort of thing. We know that there's still things that we need to work out in terms of sight lines. The sight lines to the bathrooms, for instance, are not great yet. So we've got to think about that. We have to do a little more thinking about how we deal with off-hours closure. We have an idea how to do it, but it's at a little bit at odds with the circ desk, because the circ desk has to be behind that closure. And so as the circ desk moves one way, you lose sight of something. So it's a trade-off, and we're trying to work through some of those things. But in terms of the general layout, it has kind of stayed in the same kind of organization that you've seen: central lobby and entry off of that covered entry porch, circulation desk, centrally located right when you walk in the door. Good sight line down the length of the corridor that gives you access to the children's room. You'll see in the interior view, though, that the idea of being able to supervise the children's room from the circulation desk is not realistic in a building of this scale. But you can certainly have eyes on who's going there, sort of, knowing who's coming and going, understanding who's walking into those rooms. Similarly, the sightlines to adults, we think is pretty good. It's a straight shot. All of this is low shelving. We have high shelving along the perimeter, low shelving in the middle. There is a reference desk located down at the far end, so that would provide additional coverage at the end of the adult wing, as well as supervision of the study rooms, which are located on the right-hand side of the plan. There's a lot of talk about the print area and computers, which are down at this end of the adult wing next to the circulation desk. And the staff areas have been kind of, we've tried to make that a little bit more efficient, get rid of some of the interior circulating corridors. We now have, and David, I'm sure you guys will talk about this tomorrow, but we have a kind of centrally located staff workroom. So staff workroom and tech services, off of which we have other staff areas. So similar to Norwell, where you walk into that room, then off of that is, a meeting room and the break room. The director's office is located kind of between the staff area and the public area. So, we can talk about where doors are and how you get in there, but wanting to put the director's office in a spot that was visible, that was accessible, so that you're not going back into a staff area. People coming to have meetings with David would be able to get there pretty easily. So again, this is another pass. There will be many, many iterations of this.
Who's the team?
Oh, sorry, teen room is here. Let me back up to the color. So the green is teens.
Okay, good.
So this is the teen room. This is the STEM space here. There's a small study room associated with teens, which is here. The children's and YA staff is here. So there's a desk and a room here. And actually, I'll go to this 3D plan, maybe easier to see. I know this is kind of small for everybody, but I can get my cursor there. This is the desk, the children's and YA desk. There's a glass walled office space or workspace that supports that desk. So from that room, you can see into teens, you can see into children, you can see from the desk into teens. Teens is enclosed, but it's glazed, so you can see into it from outside. And the maker space is the STEM space is accessible either by teens or children. It's sort of outside of either of their rooms, off of the public circulation. I'll move to a couple of the interior views and then I'm happy to jump back to the plans if you guys have questions. So updated entry view, the drop off actually would be a little closer than what this suggests. The edge, the end of the drop off sort of corresponds to this second column. So it would be sort of about where these people are. And then as Gigi said, it's about an 80-foot walk to the front doors, which are back here. Meeting room obviously was to the right. This is as you walk through the front doors, this is what you would see. You have a view straight through to the outdoors. You're looking left down the corridor that leads to children's. The teen room is in the foreground with book display in front of it in the lobby, but you can clear line of sight into teens from this location. You can see how far away children is, and that you can see the door. This person is in the way right now, but you can probably also see the desk through that glass from the circ desk. So there should be line of sight between those two locations. But beyond that, I think it's going to be very difficult to see, just given the distance.
In the rendering, what's the ceiling height?
It slopes, and I think it was
It goes,
14 at the low end to 18 feet at the high end. Is that right?
yeah, that's correct. Right around there.
Yeah. So that's similar to Norwell or Eastham. If you guys have been there, it's a similar height. I think that's actually even a little taller. On the right-hand side of the image, circ desk is off the screen. You're looking down the length of the adult wing off to the right.
So are those windows above the circ desk?
Yeah, so the way that the roofs work, right now we're showing that as clear story. Whether that can stay clear story, I don't know. It depends on the clearances. It's a little tight right now, and so it may not make sense to do it. We're still working through the kind of roof geometries of the three wings. But yes, that's what you're seeing in this image. Next view is circ desk looking towards, so this is a little further back. This is circ desk now looking down the length of the children's wing and the teen room. This is inside the children's room. So the desk is on the right. Off the screen to the right is the workroom that supports the desk. The door that's to the right of that chair is a staff office. And then the children's room is pretty open with the exception of the enclosed story hour multi-purpose space. Adult wing, and again, these are super preliminary, but gives you a sense of the scale. So the right-hand side is all the study rooms. The reference desk is, 2/3 of the way down this wing facing those rooms. And this is now at the far end of the adult wing looking back out towards the central green space. So they're super rough and preliminary, but it kind of gives you a sense of the scale and general relationship of things. I'll jump back to the plan if anybody has any questions.
Any questions for Matt? Great. Thank you very much. I had you on here separately, Marika, but if you're doing a meeting here tomorrow, maybe then that is your update.
No, she's on there.
She's on.
Sorry, I'm kind of I'm trying hard to hear, but it's a little bit low. I am planning to come tomorrow. So if you have questions specifically about program and sizes, I'm happy to answer those. But if you have any questions right now, I can try to answer.
Yeah, I think that is the update, that you're meeting with the staff tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Marika. So let's move to outreach. Let's see. So John and Linda and I got together. Was Mindy?
Mindy.
Mindy was there.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't miss where when. Okay. I think we've made some progress with cleaning up the links between the town sites. I know for me, I try to go in as if I'm blind and don't know what I'm looking for, and I seem to get to the library information much more quickly, but just a couple of clicks now.
I did look today.
Yeah.
You cannot, from the town site, you do not see trifold like you do on the library site.
Right.
So that one place where you can see the same information is still missing.
Okay. So Jay, was that clear? When you go to the library site, there's a facsimile of the trifold information, not in a trifold format. And it's just right there with all the colors and everything. But on the town
I
side,
can't find that on the town side.
I guess I just went library, and that's why I found it. Okay.
So a couple of things. I can look into that, obviously. But you do need to realize there's a couple of things going on that are going to change with the town's website. They're going through a process of upgrading and improving the overall town website. I also had a preliminary discussion with IT, and that process is going to stretch into November, tomorrow, next month, and it won't be completed till the end of the month in November. So the other aspect of this is the story of the library is very confusing on the website. There's so much information. And I know with a project of this scale, when I've been involved elsewhere, we did have some professional assistance from the consulting team to maintain, the website with relevant information. It didn't fall to the building committee alone. They actually had someone on the consulting team that produced information and kept that website current, fresh, and clear. And I think, assuming that you'll be into the next phase of the project, once you complete the current phase in December, there should be strong consideration to have that capacity in the next phase where you're going through construction design, cost estimates, and looking to bring this forward in the Springtown meeting. And I would just defer to the consulting team to consider that. And if there's someone on the team or within your organizations that provide those kind of services. So I think a project of this size, with the sensitivity, the long story that has gone on, it's very important to do a major refresh of your page. And we have the time to do it. And with the new website being implemented, this is a good time for the consulting team, town staff, and obviously building committee member or members to kind of work on that. And that's my recommendation. It does need a refresh and needs to tell the story much more clearly, particularly when you're looking for a big ask in the Springtown meeting.
Okay, I have a point of clarification. When you're saying the consulting teams, are you talking about engaging another consultant? Or are you talking about Odello and Accenture?
Well, in my prior experience, the owner's project manager, their team provided that type of support. I know it wasn't truly built in to this current phase, and that's not unusual. But going into the next phase, I see Jennifer. Why don't I let you speak to that?
Yeah, I'm actually just I was listening to, can you guys hear me okay? I'm at my desk now. I was just actually writing a note to my some of my colleagues to ask what projects we may have done that with, because I'm thinking, you know, we are Accenture and we're a tech company, so God knows we must have the capacity to do that. And I'm sure we've done that before. So I think that makes a lot of sense, Jay. We'd be happy to do that. I just need to find the right person to assist. But I think that would probably, we have a lot of youngsters that would be really good at the tech stuff. So I think that would be kind of a great idea to be able to help you in some way.
It'll keep it fresh and up to date. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So let me find out about that and I'll get back to you guys. Like I said, I literally just, you know, pinged my fellow directors and we'll see, you know, what kind of what we might have for a precedent that I can, you know, figure out how we can make that work for you. I think it's a great.
All right, Susan has a
Jay, I
question.
just have a question for you. You said that it was confusing. Is it because it's too much information or is it because of the way it's organized? What made it, was it visually unattractive? What made it confusing?
All of that.
Well, I found that there's information on there that had a relevance that was more important early on in the process. But you've actually reached a watershed moment in this project where you now have a site. You're going to, knock on wood, be successful in getting additional funding through the grant. And that story, that more recent story, I don't want it to get lost. And I think you have a lot more visuals that can be put up there. And also with interacting with the public, questions are going to arise as you have already experienced. It would be nice to have these frequently asked questions or questions that come in, have someone tech savvy to provide real-time responses. And I just think it's very difficult for staff who are going in many directions and actually for the building committee who have other lives, you know, in pursuits, to be able to focus in that level of detail. And we're talking a very concentrated time frame. And that's why I think it's very strategic to get that type of individual in place.
All right, so now we come to the money. So are we saying that that's not in the current contract though, correct? With Accenture, or is it?
I don't
I would have,
believe
go
so,
ahead,
but
Jennifer.
I was just going to say, I don't necessarily think that was in the contract, but I will double check. I will look for you.
Okay, so then what we would be talking is with the next phase, making sure that that is in the contract.
Yeah.
Exactly, and prepare the foundation for that to get implemented quickly once that new contract is in place.
Okay.
Yes. And we'll make sure, because our current contract, our task order currently ends December 31st, as does Odello. I think probably getting into November, we'll really want to ramp up on that so that we don't have kind of the same delays that we had with the current ones that both firms have in place. So I've got notes about this and I will get on that in the next, I mean, tomorrow, but next couple of days here to find out what it would involve and how we can get that written into the future contract.
Okay, that would be just very, very helpful
Okay.
to us because it's been a need that we keep identifying and then keep running up against lack of talent.
What would happen is the OPM would create a page and the town website would link to that through your committee and through, you know, anything that's interconnected. But it would be maintained by the OPM.
All righty. Thank you very much
Thanks, Jim.
for that info. Another topic that came up was what's the internal communication within the town so that town employees just know what's going on? Is there like an employee newsletter or something like that happens, or is it up to individuals to kind of look at the town website, the town calendar, whatever?
So for instance, would be like, you're going to Kathy may have to go to the building department. Does the building department even have a clue of a brand new library and what's happening? Or when Matt goes, when we go to talk to them, they have to hear from beginning to end because they really don't know anything about a Yarmouth library.
So Kathy's role as town planner, she also chairs the site plan review committee, where she convenes representatives from various departments, engineering, building. So she's a logical choice to help coordinate some type of informal meeting on this project, you know, pre-filing of, you know, plans, just at this of conceptual design. So I think that people are aware of the project, but there isn't any formalized communication. I assume Bill Scott provided some of that in the past. His successor begins on Monday, and part of what I wish to do is to be able to not hand a big pile of paper, but be able to give her current relevant information on where the project is and not have that individual start from square one. But eventually, I believe that individual have a more active role as Bill did going forward. But I'm not sure how that, we can have that discussion internally with David and yourself, Judy, and Tom. That would be a good discussion to have. Once Bob is back, I think we should put that on the to-do list.
Actually, Kathy could actually have the planning committee ask the library committee to come and make a presentation during the planning committee meeting and invite all the department heads to that meeting. You know, and we could have, that's one, and call it a public meeting. That's one way that they would certainly, you know, focus on internal communication. And that would be something the planning committee could do. We could ask for a public present, you know, we could put you on the agenda and have the library committee come and make a, you know, presentation, and we'd open it up to the public, and she would invite all the department heads. So that would be one way, at least, to give them a high level sort of 10,000 foot presentation about where it is and the important pieces of it and where we are right now.
Also,
I think that would work as well. Yes.
Okay, so how would we coordinate that?
I can ask him.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'll ask Kathy if she'd consider putting it on as a
And then you're as.
I'll ask Kathy if the planning board would consider having it as an agenda item.
Okay, great. Did you have a follow-up question on that, Vicki?
oh no, I didn't have a question. I was just, I just wanted to say that I've emailed
Oh, wait, that's a new topic though. Okay, so, all right, this is great.
So the only other thing that we talked about at the outreach was kind of, Susan mentioned, getting quick things to various things. And then we really thought the video was a real big bang, and being able to put even a 5-minute video, kind of like the trifold, that gets updated on certain milestones, so that people, when they finally get to a webpage that has accurate information, can see something. So that was the other thing. And then trying to get the right people that maybe are people that do our minute talks on certain areas of what they're wanting to, the new library to give them, stuff like that, to draw excitement.
Right, so we were thinking about, like, I love to come to the library and this is what I do, and, like, 1 minute. That kind of thing. Or, if it weren't for the library, I wouldn't be able to do blah, blah, blah. And then identifying the users who were doing that. So Linda took this, is Linda still with us? Okay, Linda took this to SILA, the South Yarmouth Library Association. And they were wondering if, as committee members, they could even appear in any kind of a video, which was interesting because you've all done your conflict of interest thing, and you can make factual statements, but you can't make promotional statements. Right. That's the word.
Such a problem.
Yeah, okay. However, then when it got to, so I referred her to Mary Maslowski as far as these conflict questions, and Mary's response was that each individual person could call Mass State Ethics Commission to ask about their specific situation, since everybody's would be a little different. And she was saying to restrict it with the people on this committee, which wasn't really our idea at all. So I think this just needs a little more work. Yeah, and clarification about
Who can do what?
yeah, who can do it and who's organizing it. Because again, if this is, oh, Linda's back. If this is, if this is informational and giving just factual updates on, anybody can do that. But if it crosses lines, and if we want to also use these things for further fundraising reasons, then that leaves us out for sure.
It leaves them out too.
So did I get it okay, Linda?
Yeah, pretty much. She also, it was also suggested getting in touch with Laurie in the town from messaging, that she might be able to give a structure or give some advice on how to proceed. But she reiterated many times that she could not inform individuals whether they could do it or not, that they had to speak to the State Ethics Commission, ask for the attorney of the day, and they would handle each individual case. And she reiterated those things several times.
Okay, so that's the message we have to take away. All right,
Yep.
good. And Laura Sullivan has been helpful to us in the past, but we need to go to her with a message. She can help us make the message and make it into a radio ad or a little blurb for any of the outlets, but we have to go with the message. So that's back to us.
But let me make sure I'm clear. Conflict of interest is only for people that may be on something existing. Joe Public doesn't have conflict of interest in what they do and how it may do. So it's really, like you said, maybe anybody on the board.
In certain town employees.
In certain, right, correct. And again, if there is any thought or perceived thought, it's as simple as going to the ethics to at least file and be able to have documentation of you filed a conflict of interest.
Right, but she also said, she recommended restricting those video clips to members of the committee.
This committee?
Yes. Which wasn't, that's why I'm saying, that's not our idea.
Yes.
So we've gotta, we have to, yeah, we gotta work on
We
that.
don't have to be on the video, do we?
No, that's what we have
And
to,
who said that, Judy?
Mary Meslowski,
And
the
who's
town
gonna
clerk.
do that?
Can we back up? Why are we having these people do it anyway? Why aren't we just doing a video without people? Why do we have to have people?
Oh, it was just a thought.
Oh, okay.
And then we were
It's like a
trying to.
mandatory.
No.
Okay.
And who's Mary?
Mary Maslowski is the town clerk.
Okay.
So on any of those things, she's the, she's the
The
arbitrator.
local go-to.
But for more engagement, since we talked about it, that we need more engagement last time with Mindy and Judy and everybody else. I decided to,
So
send an email.
wait, you're still not up.
Okay, sorry.
You get your own place.
I
Okay,
no, sorry.
okay, so anyway, that's where that was with the videos and
Did you guys by any chance see the Hyannis video? I know I mentioned it before.
I did ages ago.
Because that, I mean, it may be helpful to talk to them too, to understand.
they had a lot of money though.
Oh, did they?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think Mindy.
Yeah,
It was pretty
That was-
polished.
That was
Yeah.
private money,
Okay.
that was
Yeah.
private, that I knew, that was kind of like, I don't want to know. Okay, so then along with outreach, when we had our last meeting,
Oh,
we talked about Vicky was going to get in touch with the schools, so
yes.
take it away.
I spoke to the principal of Ezra Baker Innovation School and sent an email to him and CC'd Mindy and you and the superintendent. I sent an email to him too. I informed them about the library building project. Dr. Mark Smith already knew about it
Yes,
because
yes,
he was in all those.
he was supportive in the summer for our notices,
Oh,
yeah.
great, great. And the principal was supportive too. And I had to send the link from the library site to Sarah Miller too, the executive assistant of our superintendent of Dennis Yarmouth Schools, just so that like the parents of the children of Yarmouth and Dennis know about the project, because they deserve to know.
So this was the link to the
And we're waiting for the approval, so.
tribal amalgamation, whatever.
Maybe it was approved, but I didn't get the memo. I don't know.
I think it probably just went.
Yeah, I think it was approved.
Yeah,
They just, maybe it was in their newsletter or something.
they were so fast in the summer, by the time I got the phone call that it was approved, it was already out.
Perfect.
So
Yeah, so,
I would not be surprised if that happened again.
yes.
Great, thank you, Vicky. All right, so now we can move on to future steps and upcoming meetings. All right, so as far as Odello, your future steps, you continue to work on programming and how it's fitting into the building and the traffic patterns and.
Yeah, so the programming meeting scheduled for tomorrow.
Yep.
We already obviously have been working with Gigi's team, G2 Collaborative, but also our civil engineer. Civil engineer was also the surveyor. So they've been out here twice to survey the property, which they've now finished. We've had a number of conversations with them. We've had a long conversation with them about the septic and the potential future sewer tie-in. So they're engaged. We are now going to be starting to bring our mechanical plumbing engineers on board, as well as our structural engineer, now that the plan is starting to settle down a little bit. And so we'll start doing that in the coming weeks. We are assuming a 2-week next meeting in 2 weeks. Is that, I don't know if that's on the calendar.
I think,
or not,
yes,
but
we talked about that last time. After that, we're loose.
What's 2 weeks?
the 13th of November.
Yeah,
Now, are you all up to speed on getting that information that Tracy asked for about rehabbing the building? How much it would cost to rehab the building?
So
Coming together?
it's coming together. Marika, I don't know if you heard that question, if you can hear us, but can you give an update on the status of consultant
I don't
proposals?
waste time on this. Okay.
Yeah. I've gotten all except the one from RFS.
Okay.
So, but he thought he could get it to me this week, so I'm sort of hoping that he will follow up tomorrow, and then it should be complete.
Okay, was it your understanding we were gonna have to go back in front of the Board of Selectmen, or was this just a document we were gonna submit? What was your understanding?
It's out of our hands. It's
Dorcas, let
between,
me ask Dorcas. Dorcas, when the select board asked for a rendering, not a rendering, a report from Matt about the total cost of the rehab of the building, and we needed to nail that down. The building's not gonna work, and here's the reasons why. Was it your expectation we were gonna come back in front of the board, or was this just gonna be something we could hand to the board as a, this is what you asked for, here's your report?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah, we're
That
out
saves
of it.
time.
yeah.
the follow-up question though is, since there's money on this in the warrant,
Yeah.
is that really the ceiling of what Matt's team could ever propose? Because if it comes in higher than that, there isn't warrant money available.
So related to that, I had an exchange with Bob Rittenhour about this because the warrant article had to be submitted
Yeah.
last week, I think. And
Yeah.
so we went back and forth about the cost. And I mentioned to him at the time, and it sounds like Dorcas, this may not be necessary, but at the time I said, if we need to consider this as a study for assessment, that's part of it. We want to understand what that building condition is. So irrespective of its future use, you know that, the roof needs replacing and the foundation is cracked or whatever. And so that's the assessment piece of it. But if it is going to be looked at as a potential library project, and because that was what I heard in the select board meeting, that you guys wanted to be able to kind of compare apples to apples, a renovation project versus new construction. If that's the case, and it sounds like it may not be, then there would also have to be a planning study to look at how you fit this library program into that building in order to develop a cost estimate that gets you to kind of parity between the two schemes.
I think that's a hard one. I think really what it is coming down to is that we just need more documentation on why it's not feasible to do it as a library. I mean, that's really what it's coming down to, I think. I can check in with our chair and get back to you on that one, but I mean, that 150 versus 50,
Yeah.
like these kinds of things. I think we needed to just have an assessment of what the building potentials were. So that going forward, when we're looking at the feasibility for the ME small, we can look at it for that. I mean, I'll check with I'll have
Okay.
Tracy get in touch with you.
Okay, yeah. that would
I'll
be
have
good.
Tracy talk to you.
All right.
It really should come from the chair anyway.
So I don't know what the number,
You have to
whether,
get clarity on the scope.
yeah, so in terms of the number, as you're saying, I suggested to Bob that he put in, I gave him a range of like 130 to 150. He had 100 as his number. And I said, if you want to build in the potential for us to do this added scope, which we may or may not need to do, but we don't want to have to fall short, right? So I told him if he could up the number, that gives us that wiggle room. I don't know what went in the warrant.
Jay, do you remember what's in the warrant as a dollar figure?
130,000.
Whoops, what happened?
I lost it.
Oh, no.
It's always the money. It always happens when you mention money.
Oh, time is up, time is
Okay,
up.
8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Time is up.
We gotta go.
All right, so we have November 13th,
And then.
I still have them on my screen.
like that, right?
Well, it's-
Yeah.
Is it not?
130.
We're hearing you.
Yeah, final word, 130.
Yeah,
You guys still
okay.
hear us?
So then, what happens is we're starting to bump into the holidays. You know, if we stick with our Thursday, you know, if we go 2 weeks out of Thanksgiving, if we try to sneak one in on the 20th, or, you know, like,
The other week's one.
uh,
Is the 13th a Thursday?
13.
13th is
13th is
Thursday,
Thursday.
yeah.
You
The
could
next
do the
one would be
20th,
4th of December.
and then wait till December. or-
And so then go on the first week of December, does that work for
So
people?
the first week in December?
Yeah,
That'd be
that's
the 4th.
The fourth,
Fourth.
yeah.
It's fine by me.
12/4.
So 11/13 and 11/20 or just 11/13?
Yeah, what are we thinking, folks? Do we want to set one for 11/20 and then
And then
cancel it if
cancel
we
it if we
don't
don't
need
have
it?
to.
Yeah, put it in your books.
11/20.
Yeah,
And then
11/20
cancel it. And then, but definitely 12/4.
and then 12/4.
Okay.
And actually, why don't we go to 12/18? Is that right? Yeah, 12/18.
I won't be here.
Just so we have them all plugged in.
What day is 12/4?
12/4 is a
That's a
Thursday.
Thursday.
These are all Thursdays.
They're all Thursdays. All right, and
They're
so,
all here,
hmm?
all in the summer.
It's just
Yeah,
easier,
so, yeah.
there's so much jockeying for space at town hall that it's just simpler to
Yeah.
stay here.
Yeah.
I guess what we need to do though is make sure that we get the password. There seems to
It's 130,000.
be- That probably is, yeah. Okay, so we need to get that by 4:30.
Yeah.
Right? So at this end, is it always the same person who's going to be doing the deck?
No,
No,
yeah,
okay,
because it depends on who's scheduled and who has the day off, yeah.
all right,
It'd be way too simple.
yeah,
Way too, continuity would be way too
all
simple.
right. I hesitate to put myself in this because I would just be a rote carrier of that password.
We could try to make sure there's 3 or 4 people on staff.
Well, I-
Yeah, we can, I mean, if we're gonna continue to be here,
Is there a password each time?
well, the issue was that it's linked to a particular person's email and
Right.
other things, and this is the first time that I was in the loop on that, so
Oh, okay.
that's really what
I
happened.
have stayed out of, this is like, I know that much about it, but that's good.
So, but we
Okay.
we can talk further about how we move forward on all of this.
Okay,
About that.
wonderful. All right, so just to review quickly, 11/13, 11/20, 12/4, 12/18. Susan's going to work with Kathy and try and get us a showtime with the planning board.
Now, let me ask you something. If we can work it into one of those dates that would take the place of a meeting.
Right,
I mean, that would be a good,
Now, these are all
a good
Thursdays.
use
We'd
of
have to-
that, what was
push
that
it
date?
up, because we meet on Wednesday nights, but they would take the place of one of these meetings.
yeah. So
That
they
would
work,
work, right?
Yeah,
Is that too much of a, I think we've got enough that we can make a very decent presentation. I don't, if we had to do this for the next 2 weeks, you could do it.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
okay.
yeah.
Let me talk to Kathy and see what we can do. We can try to get something done before the 18th. 18th, I think is a little, it's too close to Christmas. I'd love to.
Oh, yeah,
schedule-
yeah. It would be
I'd
good
like to
to get to
schedule
know
the
better.
12/4, yeah, either 12/4 or the 12/21, or the 11/21.
Okay,
Yeah, okay.
all right, but actually it would be the day before.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it'd be
Yeah.
the
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Take the
okay,
place of that
19th.
meeting.
That-
Yeah, I'll email
that
it tonight.
Would work.
Okay,
Yeah,
Um,
and she would invite all the department heads, the site review, anyone that's interested in town.
Okay.
Plus, it would be always an open meeting, so the public will show up.
and
Yeah.
then that would be a good movement forward for
Yeah.
our responsibilities. I think that would be wonderful. We can do that.
By the way, I'm gonna be away for 10 days, starting next week, so if you guys need anything
It's
from,
warm.
it is gonna be warm, yes.
See?
We're going to Morocco for a wedding.
130,000, it's gonna be-
Can you put it in your cell phone number? for me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome.
Morocco is a beautiful place.
All right, do we,
place.
all right, we are still
My
in
niece did
session,
her,
folks,
her
so,
year abroad in
Oh,
Morocco.
really? I've never been, I'm excited.
okay.
So that's a family wedding.
Any-
which kind of
any-
feels-
any-
One question, so when do we have to actually submit? December?
End of December, December 31st.
December 31st.
Yeah, it's an online submission. I mean, we want to be ready to go before December 31st.
Yeah, the sooner we get it in, the sooner they'll start.
start
It's
through
it's sort of like all the state reports. They just, they go,
So you just queue up?
they just queue up. So the sooner we get it in, the better. But obviously, we have rivers to cross between here and there, so.
Yeah, and that's why a big push now is good for us to be doing. All right, any other loose ends? Anybody else? Motion to adjourn, please. Susan?
Second.
Okay, Dorcas, all right.
Are you at this
Roll
meeting?
call.
No.
You know what I'm gonna do? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Building is adjourned. Meeting is adjourned.
We have a
Yes,
family
everybody.
wedding. Yeah, which is really getting in the way.
Everybody.
We're gonna be in Marrakesh. Yeah, and we'll go, I mean, we're